Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Hope you all are doing okay. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium, and I have a good friend of mine and such an amazing resource with me, right? I mean, seriously. So I'm Karen Willis here with Willis Life Journeys, and Karen has been on my channel a lot of times. She's a crowd favorite, and she does some pretty interesting things. She does past life regressions. So what is your past life? How is that showing up in your current life? Believe me, I have stories. I'm closing one out this year. Am I? Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, I am. Rock on. Okay, anyway, I've been trying to close out this lesson for several lifetimes, and I really think I'm going to do it. I have faith in me. Okay, anyway, that's your past lives. She also talks about the life between lives. Hey, so there's sort of like a planning session that goes on, believe it or not, when you're up there and you're planning your next life. So that's also that happens. And then also she does quantum healing hypnosis technique, which she studied with Dolores Cannon and a lot of she studied with some heavy hitters, you guys. So she's here to answer our questions and help us understand this thing we call life. Thank you so much, Karen, for joining me again. Wait a minute. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this 5-pound book. Listen, look at all my tabs. No, this is for real, you guys. So let me just keep going for a second, Karen. Okay, here's the thing. Listen, this is called Awakened Memories of the Soul, Past 24 Past Lives with Jesus. Now, this isn't like, a religious rite, book. This is actually where she's regressed people and then found out, oh, you had a life with Jesus where you interacted with Jesus. And then in here is the verbatim, literally the actual transcript from those sessions. So she didn't make up a bunch of fiction. These are 24 people that had individual lifetimes with Jesus. And it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. I love this book. It is 5 pounds, but you know what? You can get a workout in. But you can find this on Amazon or whatever. Karen Willis, 24 Past Lives with Jesus, and it's called Awakened Memories of the Soul. I will hopefully remember to put that in this in the description. But anyway, thank you, Karen. Thank you so much for coming again.
Well,
I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. So, what are some of the questions here?
She's ready to get going. Well, I just want to say that Beagle assumes that I'm lifting weights and that I can use the book for free weight day. You know what I mean? Like I can work off some of the chocolate. Okay, I get it.
Well, you can get it on Kindle too.
You can get it on Kindle, and it won't be 5 pounds. It's so amazing. This book has got so much good energy. Anyway, so yeah, everybody's saying hi. That's cool. Let me say this before we get started. We'll say it again. She does offer readings, but let me say to you that you have to be in person. She lives on the Northeast coast, but everything is so close. You could probably get there, no problem, but you have to do it in person. So she doesn't do it online. She doesn't do it via phone. People do fly to her. You're more than welcome to do that too. willisjourneys.com is her website. What part of the East Coast again? You're north of Baltimore?
Yes. Yeah. I'm north of Baltimore. Yeah.
All right.
About 45 minutes from Baltimore.
So you fly into Baltimore.
I'm in the country.
45 minutes is in the country. I love the East Coast. Oh, somebody said the book is wonderful. I really think it is.
Thank you.
All right.
Somebody said something about Mary Magdalene. I can't find it again.
Okay. You want to add? Do you want to? I'll see if I can find
it. If Emma was Mary Magdalene, then why did she have to incarnate again? There was more lessons, evidently. Even Mary Magdalene had lessons, evidently. So I don't know. We didn't get into that, but yeah. Well, she had a lot to learn in that lifetime too, evidently, to forgive herself. Yeah.
To forgive herself. So, our souls, would you say that our souls are on a journey of enlightenment or a journey of learning? And, every soul can learn more or learn something from a different perspective. Perhaps she came back and wanted to learn something from a completely different perspective than she experienced. I mean, that's very worthy. The way we think about it when we're up there, this is like such an important opportunity, right? To get these lessons.
Well, she was a healer in this lifetime too, and very, very high spiritual level of understanding. So she was a teacher. She probably decided to come as a teacher.
In a completely different role. So Patricia
Mm-hmm.
says, hello, Karen. I had a session with you a year ago and it changed my thinking and my life. Thank you so much.
Well, thank
Wow.
you. That was so sweet. Thank you.
I'm telling you, I need to get, I was just saying before we hit the live button, I've got to get up there and get a reading because I just believe, first of all, I really enjoy and trust and admire and value Karen. And I just
Mm-hmm.
really believe in the stuff that she does.
Well, thank you.
It's just so valuable to find these things out. So while I'm waiting, we just started, we're starting to get some questions here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you about patterns and past lives. What
Right.
is some advice you can give people to maybe have a glimpse or an understanding or an awareness of something that's happening in their life that could be a past life issue?
Okay. A lot of times, if you can't understand it from this point in your life, then it could be past life, related. So we have patterns, and sometimes from past lives, we bring them forward in this lifetime to get rid of them. Just like in this life, if someone chooses the wrong partner over and over again, that's a pattern in this life, right? Well, they might have chosen the same thing before. So, and if we don't really listen to it, then it will be magnified in the next lifetime. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay.
It makes sense to me. I will never forget when my guides, I was working on this lesson and I was talking to them and they said, "Oh, don't worry. You can fix it or deal with it or advance it in the next life." And I was like, "Wait a minute." You know. And for them, our lifetimes are very short. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh, yeah.
can do this in 10 or 12 lifetimes. I mean, to them, that's like blink, 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 blink. It's nothing. It's like, oh my God, it's such a drudgery. But for them, it's like, this is a process that is maybe even supposed to take multiple lifetimes. It's not even possible to get it done in
Yeah.
one lifetime. Would you agree with that?
Yes. And some people choose, I talk to a lot of people who really have very, very difficult lifetimes. I mean, extreme. And I said, you must have really chosen a lot because you wanted to learn fast. But, usually the council will say, you might want to not do so much, you might want to think about that. But when we're in the spiritual world, we're all excited and we want to come down and we want to learn this and that. And sometimes we get overwhelmed in this earthly existence, right?
I love that you said that there's somebody actually trying to talk us down. It's
Yes.
like, Susan, are you sure you want to do this? Like, are you really sure? I'm like, yeah, I can do it. Trust me. Right. So the other thing you said is the council.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me again about, because when you do these regressions, when you do the QHHT, can you go through all the people you talk to? Like you talk to their higher self, right? Or the council and something else. Like which different parts of that person are you talking to get information?
Okay, when I do the quantum healing, you're talking to the highest level of the highest self that can be that they can access at that time. There are levels of the higher self. Okay, it's based on our spiritual awareness. There's no judgment, there, and so some people can get more worldly information, and then most people just get information about themselves. And when you go into that, it's almost like you're channeling because you have no control what's coming out of your mouth. So it speaks the truth. And I can understand because the ego thinks it's protecting and it tries to get in. So Yeah, it's sneaky.
It is actually.
And so, well, you probably know that, right? What
Well,
you
I know
do.
that when you're talking specifically about these people are under hypnosis. I mean,
Right.
they're lights out. They're deep. Hopefully, they're deep into
And
a hypnotic state.
right.
And Karen's even experienced where she's talking to the physical embodiment of her client, but the voice that comes out could sound like a little kid or could sound like a different person or a different accent. Is that correct?
Are you talking about in the higher self?
Yeah, there's some time when actually the person changes, when they change their
Well,
expression and change their
well, that
voice.
in the past life they can go into different languages. That's true. The higher self did do a different language for me that time when it told me that I needed to write that book. I still don't know
Right.
what kind, I don't know what kind of language that was. But then I asked it to interpret. And even in past life, I'll say, could you please interpret? And that's kind of rare in the past life. But usually, like if you're a child or something, you sound very childish. If you were a female in this life and a male in a past life, you might have that. I had a woman, we were just talking about New Orleans. I had a woman from this area that talked with a New Orleans accent in the past life. And she didn't realize it. And I said, you need to listen to your session because you're speaking as she was like, fluent. A lot of people are. Or they might say words that are related to the country that doesn't really sound like where we are, So there's different ways that they, may say a word or something that's not in our vocabulary. Let's put it that way. So yeah, so it's kind of interesting. But in the subconscious, you can sometimes the wordage that they use is different than the wordage that they would use normally. Okay. And then also the voice can change drastically sometimes. It can sound very, very strong and male, and even though they're females, and even a couple male clients that I had, they were even more like vocal, and so it's very interesting. And then sometimes it doesn't change, and I asked the subconscious one time, why does the voice change for some people and not for others? And they said they wouldn't believe it otherwise. So I think yeah. So it's for them to believe that that's their higher self.
When they listen to that recording and they
Right,
say, that was me and that's not my voice.
right, right.
You
And
can't deny it.
no, and there's certain words, and I don't want to say it because if people come, but there's certain words I know that they normally wouldn't say about themselves in this life. So
Like
I
a
kind
slang word from a different time or
no, it's
oh.
I don't want to say.
Okay. Bad words. Okay, words
All
that
right,
we don't.
let's say this. I can say this. If they say I think, then I'm saying no. The subconscious doesn't think; it knows, right?
Okay.
It
So
knows.
you know that the ego is editing.
Yeah,
The
and
mind is editing.
yeah. So we don't want the ego.
No,
We want the pure self, the true self, whatever you want to call it, the higher self,
the higher self.
the
So, and I
subconscious.
the subconscious. Okay, so just for clarity's sake, because I think that I'm mixing this up, but
Okay,
so for like for the past lives, you're actually connecting to a version of that person
right,
when they were alive at a different time. So that's
right,
when this person could have another accent from a different language,
right.
or they could have a different voice. Then there's other times, there's when you're doing maybe the QHHT, there's a quantum healing hypnosis technique. Then you're talking to their subconscious.
Right, right.
And where does the council come in? And
The
who is the
council.
council?
Okay, the council is when we go in between lives, we go before the
Oh,
council,
okay. Okay.
and that's kind of the life review. Okay, So that's where you review that lifetime with them. And then also you plan your life for the next lifetime. It's a lot
With
of
the
planning.
council.
Yes. So you can plan anything. You can plan the day you were born, your family, everything that, that we're down here. You're going to plan. You can
Based
plan
on the
your life.
lessons that you want.
Yeah, and the lessons you want. Because we have free will there too. We can choose. And they might say, you don't want to choose that. But, and then sometimes it was interesting. I heard that souls that are less, let's say, less spiritually aware, the council can choose for them because which kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Like if they're not really ready to understand lessons and what they need to learn.
Well, it's sort of like when you go to the restaurant and it's a different cuisine than you've ever had. And
Right.
hopefully you have a friend that says, try this. It's going to be something more palatable for people
Right.
who aren't familiar with this before you go do this other thing. So in that case, the council's like, we've got a newbie here. Let's load them up with like all the introductory courses
Yeah.
of Earth 101 school, right?
Mhm.
Okay, very, very cool. And so I have a question. We have a lot of questions I want to try to get to because you guys are filling up the questions, which I appreciate. But I want to ask about the council too, from the sense that is the council different for me than it's going to be for you?
Most likely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have my own council that knows my situation.
Yes. And the council can change from my understanding. I don't know why, but it can.
Okay.
Okay. I haven't asked that question. That would be a good question to ask the higher self. So, and when I did the Life Between Life, they came as people to me. Okay. And in a setting. Okay. And
in your mind's eye during the process.
Right. Yeah. I'm a visual
Not
person.
at the kitchen table when you're eating Wheaties. But
no,
when you're under
in hypnosis, right? When I did the Life Between Life training, I did that also. So they were like people, and then they kind of laughed at me and said, you like to see, you're very visual. And they laughed at me because they have a great sense of humor. And I said, yeah. And then they turned into beautiful energy. Yeah, colors. Oh. And they said, well, we're all energy. Yeah, I said, yeah, I know. But I like visuals.
But I like visuals. So did you like did you like the energies or did you like the people? Which would you prefer talking to?
Both of them were great. I don't know. They gave great advice. Let's put it that way.
You didn't prefer, like some people might want to see a human looking thing.
Right. Well, I think they make it so we're comfortable.
Right. They know what you want to see.
Just like, when you die, if you believe, like you said before, if you believe in Jesus, he's going to show up, right? Or if you believe in Buddha, he'll be there, or your parents might be there from that lifetime. So, whoever shows up is what you're supposed to be comfortable with. So in different lifetimes, it'll be different people usually, or different religious people or whatever. So, but the most thing, they want you to feel comfortable. So that's why they showed me them as people first. Right. Do you understand?
And then they showed me.
And then they showed me the real stuff.
The real stuff. They're like, watch this, lady. So Judith wants to know, do we ever talk to our council while we're in our life? Well, that's what she does. That's what Karen does, what we're talking about right now. Actually, her clients, she puts them into a deep sleep is what my guides are calling it. And then she gets your council there. And in your council, what does your council do? Does the council say, Susan's working on this plan, she's working on this lesson, she wants to learn this? I mean, what are some of the things the council would say?
Okay, the council will first of all go over that previous lifetime, okay? What did you learn?
You mean they're going to grade me? Oh my God, how embarrassing.
No, they're not going to. There's no... There's no judgment. Okay, everybody, because some people have said, I'm kind of afraid to go there to see.
I
And I
know,
said,
right? Like, I don't think
there's
so.
nothing to be afraid of. They're there to help you and guide you. But you don't, you still have free will, like I said. So anyway, so they go over that lifetime and, so what do you want to learn next time? What do you want to work on? And so then you tell them what it may be, forgiveness or uh, self-love or whatever, anything. And so like I said, some people choose quite a bit. So then you choose, it was interesting. I chose my body. It was very strange. There was like a shopping center kind of
Are you kidding me?
thing. But
Okay,
see,
we're
I've
going
had
down
people, but
down
see,
the aisle of height. We're going down the aisle of hair color.
no, of an actual body of a person. Because
Oh, it's even worse. It's
I
like, what?
saw, I saw a male, but I decided to be female in this lifetime because I said this is the time for females. And so I wanted to be a female. And I saw this gorgeous blonde woman. And I said I didn't want to do that because she would be too distracting. So that was kind of interesting.
You were like, let's do this, man. I don't want any distractions. I don't want to have to deal with all these,
Yeah,
wow, that is fascinating.
yeah,
I sometimes think that I have a spirit guide that is a comedian. That probably is not a surprise to you all,
no,
but this guy wakes me up in the middle of the night with these monologues and I'm like, "You know what? That's really funny." And he's got a whole monologue about how I chose my body. And
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on a stage doing this monologue because it is funny about how I was a man and I chose this body and why I chose it and how as a woman I'm like, this is useless. I don't need any of this stuff, right? So I think it's funny that you
yeah,
said that you chose based on
yeah,
whatever you thought your life was going to be in that life, right?
yeah.
So somebody
And
might choose to be very pretty or choose to be very handsome because
mhm,
that actually causes more problems for them because maybe they're brilliant and nobody takes them seriously, right? Or
right,
something like that. That would be part of their lesson.
right.
Nobody takes me seriously because I'm a blonde lady. That's part of your lesson that you wanted to experience that, right?
Or maybe they had a lifetime where they thought they were ugly and they want the experience of being beautiful. Or maybe
See?
they need to learn to let go of the ego too, you know.
Right. Right. There you go. Or the limitations put
Yeah,
on you by a woman or put on you by
yeah,
whatever it is that
right,
you.
right.
Okay. Here's a question from Mist 2585. Do we have turns as being council members when we stay in spirit or in the afterlife?
No, I don't think so. They're very high level, extremely high level spiritual beings, unless you are. I don't know, but most people, no, no.
Most
They're
people know.
they're they're wise, 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 beyond our understanding. Because
So they would have. Go ahead.
sometimes they'll tell me, or tell the client, the information is not available to you.
Because it's
You're
over
not
your head.
ready. You're not
Yeah.
ready for that. You can't
Okay.
handle it. It's just like they said, the human brain cannot handle all the information that they have. Like,
And the earth can't handle it. I mean, the earth also
no,
has its own container of vibration
right,
and we have to stay in the container. It's like a classroom. You don't take the kindergartners or the high schoolers or the college kids and put them in a different classroom that's not
right.
that level for them, right? So that's
Hmm.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was really interesting. Um, our souls, let's see, Donna wants to know, are souls part of a spiritual family?
Yes. We have soul groups. And what I found with mine is that there are more, and with some other people too, when I ask them to go to their soul group, it's a group of souls that you have some kind of connection with, okay, or some kind of mission, okay, depending on what level you're on. So, and sometimes you can be with your soul group that really aren't on the same level spiritually as you, that would be your family soul group a lot of times. And then you might have a spiritual soul group, a group of soul group that you are connected spiritually with. So, and then what I experienced was I was with the soul group and I wanted to go to the higher soul group, but I needed to work with this soul group.
That you were still working with. You weren't done yet.
Yeah, I was there to help them.
Oh, you were there to help them. Okay. So even though you could have tested out, so to speak, right? You could have jumped to the next. I mean, there's no judgment. It's really more about where you fit. It's not about judgment at all. It's like being a zebra with the zebras and then being a giraffe with the giraffe. It's like where do you fit? But they said, no, instead of doing that, we want you to stay here and work with these souls. Now, my question is, when you say soul group, are these people that we know in our physical life?
Sometimes, yeah. When you go in between life, though, it's you're working on the soul group that you had at that time. Do you see what I'm saying?
So in her readings, when you're in between lives, so she does a reading where she transport you back to your planning between the lives. Okay, so then you're saying in that environment, you're working with what? The souls that you have
worked with, in that life, the previous life, right?
The previous life.
Right.
So you would actually be able to call up the soul group from that previous life to get more information about what you were learning in that life that could still be impacting you in this life.
Yeah. And they also can, mine had a nickname for me too. I can't remember. It was funny. Because I had some real funny people in there too. So, and they might have been also from other lifetimes too, I should say, previous lifetimes. I should say that too. So, so they, you have a discussion with them too, sometimes. Now, some people don't, they just like to see them and feel them or whatever, but some people get more information from them. So it just depends.
So it's also like a homecoming sometimes.
Yeah, and they're all happy to see you and you're happy to see them. And it's really fun. And they were lights to me, like energy lights. They came to me that way. But some people don't, so it depends.
Some people show up as energy lights and some people show up as human forms in this situation. Now, you're talking about your own regression, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. If I'm having a regression, you might ask me, what are you seeing? And I might say, I'm seeing a blue light, or I'm seeing orbs, or I might say, I'm seeing people. Is that what people would say?
Yeah. And some people don't see. They don't see like pictures like I do. So they have to go with their first impressions and their feelings and sensations. Just like in a past life. I have people, everybody wants to see, which I totally understand because I'm a visual person. So, so it just depends. It's very individualized, however you perceive the information is okay. So, and I get people that are non-visual get as much information as visual. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Exactly. And listen, it's just like the people that could see really, really wish they could feel. Maybe they wish they had what you have, but you're like, wow, the feeling was amazing. Maybe I don't get that. And all I get is this vision. So we all want what everybody else has, right? But you can also claircognizantly know that there's people in front of you, and you claircognizantly know that they're tall beings, or you don't have to see it, you can know it without seeing it.
Right.
So our senses are all different ways of experiencing that. So that is absolutely fascinating. Anything else about that?
Well, I want to explain that I take you to 2 past lives before you go to the life between life and also the quantum healing to get people deep enough to go into these higher level sessions, kind of. And so they take a lot longer, 3 to 5 hours. Where the
3
past
to
life,
5 hours, y'all.
I rarely go 5 hours. Dolores Cannon said, don't go past 5 hours. And I've learned that because the subconscious will say the body is tired. So I know it's time to stop it.
But when you're laying there, I assume you're sitting or laying down. When you're the client, it's like you just wake up and you can't believe it's been 3 hours, right?
Right. That's a
You have
hypnosis.
no understanding that it's been 3 hours.
Yeah. Now, some people know a little bit more than other people. So I don't know why, but most people don't. They'll go, I thought it was 15 minutes. And I'm like, no.
And then other people know that it had a sense of
I
the
think
time.
people that do a lot of healing, that we do a lot of healing work with, you know. So, and I think they tell us the body is tired because that's the way they tell me that it's time to end this session.
Yeah, I mean, there's a physical limitations of, maybe the bladder is full, right? Like, I mean, the body is still doing its thing, even if you are out to lunch someplace. So,
Well, this is, I have to explain this. Okay. I tell people that if you have to use the bathroom during the session, let me know. And I give them a suggestion that immediately
they get up and go to the bathroom in the middle
and
of
then
the
they come
session?
back. Yes. It's like magic.
I did not know that.
Yes.
I honestly thought you were going to say you threw a Pampers on this person. I honestly thought you were going to say that. I'm like going to the bathroom and then I come back and then I lay down. I'm like, are you for real? I would be in your kitchen making like grilled cheese sandwich or something. I'd be like, what is happening right now?
No.
Okay.
No. But
I
give you a suggestion. I give you a suggestion and I do another deepening to get you there. So.
And you do another deepening. Okay. Somebody did have the question, and I don't know if I can find it really quickly, but somebody did have the question that said, what do you do, and I know she's had this, but what do you do if someone shows up and they cannot go into hypnosis, that they just can't quite go deep enough?
Okay. Usually they're blocking the information, which I can usually feel. And a lot of times they'll tell me, I know I'm blocking. Okay. Or else they're fearful. If there's fear. Okay. Or if they're extremely analytical, it's very difficult sometimes. Mainly men, though. But it's very rare that people don't go into hypnosis. Okay. And everybody can, but they have to want to and really listen to what I say and, don't judge what I'm saying or anything. If you start judging, you're going to go out of hypnosis or else you're not going to be as deep in hypnosis. Now, a lot of people say, I feel like I made it up. And I'm like, well, if you made it up, would it relate to the current life? Would you have to release this from the current life? It's like you were light. They were probably lighter in hypnosis because you go as deep as you go. I have no control how deep you go. I try my best, but it is what it is. But I can't guarantee anything. I tell people that. They understand. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But everybody can. They just have to. And then some people just don't believe it too, and I can't make people believe.
After.
Mm-hmm. Some people
after the thing.
I think most people do, but there are a few, that. And then I'll even ask the subconscious when we're in the subconscious, will they believe this information? Oh. And I had one said maybe. Yeah.
But 50-50, we're not sure.
But
yeah, they're like, see what we're working with here, y'all. You see what we're working with here? Yeah, that would be mine. Mine would be like, can you please write this down and give it to Susan? Pin it to her shirt so when she goes home, she sees it. Love it. Wow. I have an interesting question here. I know that you have this on your website, which is willislifejourneys.com. But Sue Daly wants to know, when did you realize you had this gift? Does it take a lot of energy out of you during the past life session?
Yes, that's why I only do 3 a week now. I found when I did 5, I was
Oh God.
really exhausted. It does, because I'm with you energetically, and
For
especially
3
when we're,
hours or 4 hours.
yes, and when we do healing work too, I do healing work within that. So, yes, and then what was it? Realized we had,
The other question, when did you realize you had the gift?
well, in training, well, let me say, I went to training saying to myself, either it's going to work or it's not. You know what I
But
mean?
what did you do before you did training?
Before I did training, I was a special ed teacher for
A special
15
ed
years.
teacher for a long time, right?
15 years, yeah.
15
Yeah.
years. And what made you want to even go to training? What happened?
Because spirit was telling me, which I didn't realize at the time. I'm clairaudience. Remember we talked about that? But it kept coming. And I had a spiritual group at that time. And I said, it keeps coming to me that I'm supposed to do past life regression. And they go, duh. And I'm like, what?
And so,
Because this is what you love. This is your passion. You tell people about how it helped you all the time. And so I said, yeah, okay, maybe. So I'll call this person up. Well, the first person I called was Brian Weiss' place. And
very, very esteemed
yes,
person, multiple books,
right.
Brian Weiss,
And he said that,
many lives, many masters, or many
right,
masters,
right.
many lives, something like that.
So
This
they
he
said,
studied with the people,
but that wasn't my teacher. So they said to call back or call back
but you
again.
studied with the other guy who's even just
So
as good,
the other guy, Henry Boldick, who had
Henry
done
Boldick.
it since he was 16 years old, had done past life regression,
Since he was
and worked with the ARE and things like that. So, and
ARE
then
is
Association for Research and Enlightenment, Edgar Cayce.
association. Edward
So,
Casey's ARE. Okay, this is this woman's pedigree. Go ahead.
so anyway, so I called the number, and Henry answered, and I was like, this is my teacher. I just knew. And he was the most giving, loving person I've ever met, the egoless person I've ever met. I actually feel he was a disciple. He never said it, but I was getting that.
Wow.
See, I'm getting chills. So he was, yeah.
He wouldn't say it. He's a disciple. That sort of Jesus energy,
Yeah.
basically, right? So, and he taught you how to do the past life regressions.
Yeah, and it just kind of came natural to me. Let's put it that way. I'm a very curious person, so I ask a lot of questions. And that's what you need to do to get to where you need to go with that person. Because sometimes when they tell me things, it's like, they're not really telling me what we really need to know about that lifetime. So I have to dive in different ways and get the information. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, you were tenacious, basically, because you
Yeah.
kept going at it from different directions. So you studied past life regression with Henry Boldick, and then you went into QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis technique, with Dolores Cannon. Is that correct?
No, I did the advanced class with Henry, and then I did the Life Between Life training, and then I did the quantum healing with Dolores.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But all within a period of time, short period of time. So actually, I was going to Egypt. This is interesting. The year that, they had all the craziness going on. And a man told me that I should go to Dolores Cannon's training. So I used that money to go to training.
You didn't go to Egypt, you because of the stuff that was going on. So you just used that to go to Dolores Cannon. Wow.
Yeah. So
you feel like that was guided? Yeah, synchronicity,
yes.
right?
Yeah, guided. Yeah. Yeah. So when you're in your path, because I feel I'm on my path, things kind of work out, more so. Don't you think?
Yeah. Green lights versus
red light.
blockages and redirections and detours.
Right.
I mean, even when you're on your path, things aren't always smooth because you have lessons to learn, right?
Right.
But man, if you're really getting like brick walls and detours, that's a pretty good indication that you're not really on the right path to begin with. So pay attention to those things, right?
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah. You need
so
to listen to that inner voice. And that's what I tell people. If I didn't listen to my inner voice, first of all, I wouldn't have quit my job as teaching and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, if I didn't follow the intuition part of me, the knowing.
I mean, you could have taught for another 15 years before you switched over to this. I mean, they don't care about time either. Like, so it takes you 10 years. They're like, okay, well, this human is working through their things, right?
Right.
But you listened. You kind of were a little quick to move through those steps, if you ask me.
No, thank you. I don't know if I was quick, but I did listen. The book I didn't listen too well until that woman came and spoke in a different language.
That was a woman was her client, actually.
Right.
So I just want to say really quickly, so she's doing these sessions, right? This is her job, right? And so she told me one time when she was on the show, she said, well, you get people that were a pirate or people that were a farmer or people that were a politician, you get, but you don't often get the same kind of person over and over and over again. Like for me to get like a Roman soldier every single week of 3 readings, one is a Roman soldier, and then that goes on for a month, right? Like that would be a slightly unusual. And you started having all these readings with people who had been connected or with Jesus, and you were starting to wonder, like, this is a real pattern. But yet you weren't really catching on. And then one of her clients pops up with this, for lack of a better description, crazy voice and tells her, here's the 411, Karen. You're not listening. You need to do this book. Is that kind of how it happened? Or did I make a
Yeah, they did.
drama mentry?
Well, she said that I needed to tell the truth of who Jesus was. It's time. So, and she kept saying, you need to tell the truth. Yeah. So that's why I included the channeling as well, because that was part of it,
Right. Right. This isn't like her saying, these people that I interviewed, this is actually this is all the raw material, the truth, the raw material of what happened.
That's exactly what they said. That's what it took so long, because I transcribed it personally by myself.
And she was like, I don't want to do this.
It was a lot of work, but I finished it during COVID. So COVID did something good for me there. Yeah. So if you keep getting messages, you need to listen no matter what you're supposed to be doing. If you need to leave a job, they told me I had to leave that job. They told me. It's time.
They told me you're going to stop being a photographer. I was like, bet.
Yeah.
That's what y'all think. Oh, let me tell you, they made it so that I had to leave. Let me tell you,
Oh yeah,
but I will say that I was the last person there.
They made the last year of my teaching horrific. Let's put it that way. Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
I had the best time, and then all of a sudden everything went south, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, it'll be unmistakable. Yes. It'll be hard for you to not.
It's like I tell people that if you lose your job, like if you get fired or let go, there's a reason, that there's something better for you. You probably hated that job,
Right. Or if you loved it, you outgrew it, but you don't know it yet. It was comfortable and you really needed a new challenge. I do want to ask you about healing, because I don't know that I've really ever talked to you that much about that on my channel. So you said just a minute ago, some of this is when we're healing. So talk a little bit about how people can get healing. What are some of the blocks to getting healing, and how that happens in that session, and which session does it happen in?
It happens in all of them, basically. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Except when I shouldn't say the subconscious heals by itself. Let's put it that way. So when I do a past life regression, I take you to usually 2 past lives. Unless you die as a child, then I'll do 3. Okay, or we really get to the issue. or we get to the issue
Oh,
right away. But so after that, I take you. I think I talked about that. I ask you how you died, and then I take you through, the spirit world to the life review. Okay. So in the life review, that's where I work on healing. Okay. What did you need to release from that lifetime that's affecting the current life, whether it's physical, emotional, or anything else? Okay. Or forgiveness of self. That's a big one. Or forgiveness of others. And when I do physical healing, because a lot of times you bring with you things from the past that you're not aware of. And I don't know why we bring it, but the subconscious said that it's up to the soul to release it in the spirit world. So I don't know why we bring so much, but we do. So I've had farmers that a lot of times that have arthritis or something, or they have pain that they can't understand, and the doctors don't understand. So what I learned, and my guides told me to use colors, which is very interesting. So all of a sudden they said, use colors for healing. And because I can clear audience, I hear them. So I was like, okay, I'll try. Okay. And it works. It's beautiful. And it's not the chakra colors. So I'll say, where does this manifest in the body? And because, emotions are in the body. Okay. So they'll tell me, and then they'll tell me the color. And if it's really, really deep, it's black or gray, no matter what. So if they say black,
deep in the
deep,
body, or like
deep
just
in the body,
heavy?
yeah, very heavy. And then I'll ask, what color would you like for healing? And it's very interesting, the colors: pink, yellow, white, of course, golden, but a lot of pink. It's very interesting.
Love.
So they can actually feel the colors in them and then moving out of them. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's very beautiful. So
The person you're healing can feel the colors. You ask them, can you feel this? And they say yes.
Well, they can see it or feel it, whatever, however they perceive it.
They're experiencing it. They're experiencing it.
Because it can be experienced differently. But and it works with men too, because I was like, well, we'll try it with men too. See if they,
That's hilarious.
It was fun. So the guides knew, so they helped me that time. So, and it's very healing for people. Of course, once they're out of the session, they have to believe it. Okay. So I'll tell you what happened to this one woman. We worked on healing. She had a mask before the mask thing, because she had asthma, or not asthma, but like allergies, I guess. And so I said to her, we worked on that. I think it was related to anger. So we released that. And she called me the next day or so and said, oh, it's wonderful, it's gone, and whatever. Then she called me a week later and said she went to the doctor. And guess what? Came back. Because he told her she still had it.
Oh. Power of suggestion.
So I told her to listen to her recording as many times in that particular time of healing. And it went away. She never had it again. Yep.
Wow.
Or else coming back to me. Sometimes, people will need to come back. But so you have to believe it, and you can't listen to your doctor if you're already healed. You know what I mean? So
if you're already healed, right? We do need to say, just for legal purposes, this is not professional medical advice. No. And always go to your doctor. And these are opinions, right? This is not. We're not saying we're going to cure you, and she's not saying we're going to cure you, because we can't say that. Period, because of our laws. But that was her experience in working with this patient.
This client,
so that belief is a powerful thing. It sure is. So here's a question that Sherry has. I'd like to be done with this Earth School after this one. Can we choose to just chill once we pass?
Well, yes, you can, but I've had people say, this is my last lifetime. And I'm like, okay, uh, you can't really say that.
She says, well, let's just see.
Because you might want to do something else on earth. Maybe you want to be a teacher or a healer, or maybe you need to work on some more stuff that you're not aware of. So I don't think on this earthly plane we really will know until we're crossed over.
But once you cross over, or has it ever happened that you've had that conversation with the higher self or the council, and has anybody ever said this can be your last life, like you can go on to other existences? Has that
I
ever
have had one person, one client. They were in training to be a guide in this life.
In this life, they were in training to be a guide. What did they do? Go ahead and tell me that they were like Guido in the mafia. No. Okay.
I don't remember exactly what that lifetime was, because I can't hold on to all the lifetimes.
Yeah. I get it. So how?
But it was. I think it was a healing lifetime. This lifetime too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So who was the one who told you that? Was that the council, or was that their higher self, their subconscious?
The higher self. They were in the subconscious higher self. Yeah.
The subconscious higher self.
Because sometimes if the higher self tells you, then it's probably pretty true, I would think. But again, we might choose differently, when we get to the spirit world and be excited again.
I just want to know, like, okay, everybody in the chat, if you went to Kathy or Karen and she said, well, your higher self, you're listening to the recording, and the higher self is like, oh, you're training to be a guide. You'd be like, call your spouse up right now and be like, don't even talk to me. Kids, no, I'm training to be a guide, and here's the recording. You want to listen to it? Okay, then let's all just understand, right? Like, I would be insufferable. But I guess if you're really that person that's going to be a guide, you wouldn't be. You'd probably never tell anybody. You'd probably be very, no ego. You'd probably be like, "Whoo, I could never." You know what I mean? You would be actually that ascended energy of no ego. Like
he was a highly evolved soul. Let's put it that way. I do remember that. So,
it was a male.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do remember that. I don't remember the past life. So, but he did say that. So, and I had someone that said, I think they said they weren't going to come back in the higher self. I think somebody was going to be. No, I can't remember. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, I'm sure they can decide that, if it's need to be. Now, you don't have to come back, but they said this is the best place to learn.
Oh, so I can only imagine.
If you don't want to learn, I think, you can stay on any awareness level. So if you don't really want to learn, then you can stay on that level, right?
We all know people on that level, Karen.
Yes, we know.
We know people. We know them, and it's cool. Like, it's cool. I love.
They're there for a reason, even though we don't agree.
They're just doing their thing.
To love them from afar. Let's put it that way.
And realize
I tell people, it's like people that have done like rape people in past lives, because people have been raped or the Holocaust or whatever, murderers. Forgive the soul of that person, which makes more sense than the ego and the personality, because that's what created that, right? So forgive the soul of that person. And that helps people sometimes. So, but we have to understand we put ourselves in that position. I had many violent lifetimes. Yeah.
You had many violent lifetimes?
Yes, many.
Wow. Now, do you feel, so when you were saying a lot of times it's people that need to forgive themselves, What was that part of the thing? Like, because I know me, I did have one lifetime that was really violent. Like I was, woo, y'all. Uh, and I remember, and we can talk about this too, because I remember coming to, because what Karen does is completely professional and different. Somebody asked, can we just do this ourselves? Can we just do a past life? You can, and I have. And the problem is you don't finish it. You don't complete it. You don't get to actually close it out. You end up with situations like mine where I came to awareness. It's like waking up in a surgery. I came to awareness and I remember calling myself a monster. Now that's not healing. Like that is now I think a fragmented energy of my soul, of my being. Whereas what Karen does is she takes you through the whole process and you go all the way through to the exit of that life, and then there's an opportunity to heal that life, right? So it's all the way to a closure situation, right? But so for you with your violent past lives, is that, do you feel like you have closure? Do you feel like, I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, the ones that I did in training, yes. The ones I did before he didn't finish. Okay. So I had to finish it myself. And he
How do you
also
do that?
told me I'm a victim. We are never victims. We always choose, right?
That's hard for people. I don't
I
yell at
know.
us. That is hard for people. Believe me, it's hard for people.
Well, let me tell you, I was in the Holocaust. I was a 5-year-old girl. Okay.
In the Holocaust.
I was, they put us in a building and they burnt the building. Okay. So he told me I was a victim. Okay. So when I went to the life between life, and I can't make this up,
Right.
they said, you were not a victim. You volunteered. You volunteered to show them the way home.
Show who the way home?
All the people, all the souls.
That were
The
with
soul.
you?
Yes.
You were the
And they would,
shepherd. You were their
they,
shepherd.
they would follow a child. That's what it was said.
Because
Yeah.
the meek, the something, the
I
child,
don't
there's
know.
this kind of thing about the
And I
child.
can't make it up. I was like, kind of like, ooh. And then it made sense to me afterwards, but it was really deep. And then when I saw 9/11, in my mind's eye, I saw another person doing the same thing, taking the soul,
Right. Showing them the way.
showing them the way. I'm getting chills up and down. Yep.
Yeah.
So if you go to any past life therapist, don't let them tell you that you're a victim, because you're not. Okay.
Right.
And don't take on that either, because we're much more. We have to realize who we truly are. We're light beings of great power that we don't use.
That's a powerful statement she just said. We're light beings of great power that we don't use. Now, there are limits, but because the earth is limited, but there's so much more we could do. Telepathy. There's so much more of our psychic abilities we could be using. So I just want to say, I know that that's a sensitive thing, but I do want to say that victimhood takes your power away.
Right.
Right. It means you're powerless. And then think about being on a boat in the ocean with no power, with no rudder. You're at the mercy of whatever. And that you're not at the mercy. You have great power here. Bad thing happened to you, but that doesn't mean that you're a victim, I think maybe is another way to say.
And that doesn't define you as a soul. It doesn't define
it doesn't define you as a soul. You know what's really interesting? Listen, I came out of the womb fighting. I came out of the womb swinging. I'm pretty sure. But here's the thing. Just like not that long ago, I uncovered or had the new awareness that I had this victimhood energy in my energy. and it was breeding more victimhood. It was bizarre, but it was like attracts like. So in certain areas of my life, I was like, this never goes right. I can't get this right. I'm always having a bad outcome. And I didn't realize that that was me participating in victimhood. The guides just told me in your own downfall,
Right.
participating in your own downfall. Because if you're not, if you're saying, I never have enough money, I'm always broke, I'm always sick, I can't ever get ahead, everything is rigged against me, then you're sowing the seeds into the future of those very things, right? So let me tell you, nobody was more surprised than me when I found that I had this little victimhood mentality locked away over here, when the rest of Susan is, I'll show you a victim, I'm fixing to, like brawl. But there was a part of me that, so, it's really interesting what we're doing here, what Karen's helping you with, what I try to help you with on my channel. And by the way, I'm broadcasting this on both of my channels. Maybe that's why it's confusing too.
Mm-hmm.
Is to be empowered, is to
Mm-hmm.
let you get your power back, but also to learn about yourself. Because when you learn these things about yourself, then you can heal it.
Yeah. And it's interesting that so many people are not self-loving in our society.
It's harder
And
than you
so
think.
it was interesting. I
Which
was
is a victimhood statement. Go ahead.
so,
I'll see myself out.
because I know I didn't love myself either as a young person, because my mother said that was haughty. You think you're better than somebody else.
Right.
But
Right.
I had to work on balance, and a lot of people have to do that. So they explain, you're going too much humbleness, and there's a balance. You can be humble, but you can still be strong. You know what I mean? And you don't have to. You can still love yourself. It's okay. You love others, and you love yourself. So we need to love ourselves as well, and that's a big, big thing that a lot of people come and they don't feel worthy, or they don't love themselves, because we are all worthy. And the subconscious has told many people that you are worthy. So
That's
the
such a
higher,
powerful statement.
yeah, you are worthy. Yeah. And so we have to let go of that feeling that we're not good enough, that well, our society helped create that too, with weight
That's also true, right? Like that
and
there's
visual, and yeah, you don't
and
look this way, and yeah,
and different races have a
races.
whole different level of justice, and how
Right,
do they deal with that when it's not equal? There's no
right,
equality there.
right. Hmm.
Wow. Cutie Little Lamb says, I felt I was a nurse in World War II with my mom, and we were BFFs in a previous life. When you have feelings like this, that like there's no reason why this person would just think this. WW2 wasn't like, see, again, we go back to when you don't believe things. And I'm not saying they do, but just in general, if you're going to make something up, you're going to make up that you were the queen or you're
Right.
the king. You're not going to say, I was a nurse in WW2. That's such a unique thing. Do you feel like when people have these feelings or ideas or intimations that is really a hint of their
Oh,
past life?
yes. Because people tell me, I feel I was here, and I was, I feel like I lived in this country. And I'm like, yeah, you probably did. Yeah. If you have a strong connection to a country or a people, you probably
Yes.
lived in that country, or with that people. Um, because sometimes I had a woman that um, she actually was Lebanese in a past life and killed by a bomb. That's another story. She hated loud noises in this lifetime, so we had to release that. But now I lost my train of thought. Sorry. So what was I saying?
Uh,
Um,
you were talking about when
her,
people, like you said, she in this current life, she didn't understand why loud
oh,
noises, that
okay.
was the connection between the past life and the current life.
But she listened to Arabic music. Now that's different, isn't it? Okay.
Right, right.
Do you see? Or if you're connected to the music, like I said, I know it was interesting. I always loved Israeli music, a certain song that they play, or it wasn't a song of music. I was connected to that, and I'm not Jewish. Why would I like that?
But then you find out that you were a little girl in the Holocaust.
Right. Yeah.
So
And
these are clues, you guys.
yeah, and why would I choose that? Like you said, I would choose I'm a queen,
Yeah, you wouldn't choose that. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't choose that.
No,
So that
but I
so
did choose it. Yeah, but you know what I
but you
mean.
did choose no, but you did choose it because you
Yeah.
knew you were going to experience this gift of
Hmm.
leading people to the light, right? Like
Hmm.
I think when you're choosing that life, it's an honor. It's like, oh my God, okay, yes, I want to do that because
Hmm.
I want to help these people, right? There's all kinds of reasons that people would want to choose a certain thing in their life. Like for me, I tell you guys all the time, I must have chosen that my mom would die when I was 7. Why would I do that? Well, maybe I wanted to learn lessons around losing my mother, about femininity, about abandonment. You know what I mean? Like these are issues that are in my life, even in my past lives, they're there, right? So then I wanted to experience that. And
Right.
my mom died at 42 with 6 kids, so she wanted to experience that. I've talked to her on the other side, right? I mean, she's
Hmm.
apologized for leaving, but this was all part of each of
Plan.
our lessons, things that we
Yeah.
wanted to learn. And my dad never remarried. And what's interesting is that when I broke up, I had a 20-year relationship, and when I was breaking up, his advice to me was, I don't want you to be bitter, because
Oh, yeah,
he
that's good.
apparently was bitter. He
Hmm.
was so bitter that he lost the love of his life at 42. He could have remarried. He was a handsome guy, but he didn't because he was bitter. So that was his life lesson that he wasn't able to sort of overcome. But he
Hmm.
did honor that life lesson by giving it to me and saying, Susan, don't be bitter. Go out and have love and be loved and live your life.
And it also probably taught you strength and independence.
Yes. But too much strength and independence. You know what I mean? Like a little too much, right? So then it also could teach me to love again, even though you've lost,
Right,
right?
right.
To risk being in
Hmm.
love, to risk that kind of love, even though you've had this loss. Like I'm sure a lot of us watching right now have lost something that's so dear that you don't ever want to have that happen to you again. So, like my
Hmm.
dad, like maybe you decide that you don't want to experience that again. And here's a question that I wanted to ask about. Um, let's see. Right. Deb Scott says, what happens to infants who pass very young, like 8 days old, or let's just say even up to, a year? That is such a quick time.
Well, usually it's a lesson for the parents, usually. Um, so they make a contract before, yeah. So, maybe they need to experience loss, or maybe they need to be able to move forward even after the griefs, because I'm sure they grieve, yeah. So I had a woman, actually, this was a psychic reading in a group where a woman had an abortion and felt very, very, very badly. Okay. But the child came through the psychic and said that we made an agreement and it's okay. It was my time to go. It's fine. So we don't want you to feel guilt. And so it's just like anyone that passes. They don't want us to be
That's
feel
true.
guilty, or maybe I didn't see them when they died or whatever. They don't care about that. They
Yeah,
really
they
don't.
really don't. They really don't.
No.
So, and also I think for some of these people, and like, because Karen was so good at like turning it around, maybe you wanted to learn this or that. I also think that if you've lost a child, some people will become parts of groups of parent
Groups, right?
groups that support each other, that take that and then are able to help others with that. So there's lots of reasons why that could happen. And
So you can either grieve all your life, which some people do, or you can turn it into something positive. Yeah. For yourself or
as
others.
positive as you can, right?
Right. You're still going to grieve for that
right.
child. I have children, I know. So it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I think it makes it better, especially if you're helping other people. I think when you have depression or when you have sadness or anything, go out and help somebody. That's the best way.
I'm telling you, it's yeah. It just heals you. We
Right.
heal. The healer heal thyself. When
Right.
I'm getting readings, I'm getting healed. I bet when Karen's doing her thing, she's getting healed because it's an energy that exchange, right? So when
Right.
I'm volunteering, I'm healing myself. When I'm praying for people, I'm praying for myself, right? Like you're in that beautiful energy at the same time. So if you
Right.
can't go out and volunteer, you can pray for people. You can
Mhm.
just send them energy. And that's beautiful and that's hopeful.
Yeah, do something positive.
Do something positive, right? So here's a question. Victoria says, what is the most interesting experience you've encountered with folks' past lives?
I knew somebody was going to answer that. I've had so many.
I know. Pick one out of the carousel.
Jeez, there are so many. Let me see. Well, I've had a lot of ETs. They are very interesting.
I knew you were going to talk about it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. I've also had this one person that this was his first life on Earth, and he volunteered. Of course, I get a lot of volunteers, people who volunteer, not only us from Earth, but other galaxies, other places. And he kept saying, the energy is so heavy down here. He was actually shaking. And I kept reassuring him it was okay. And he said, they didn't tell me about how terrible it is down here. It's like how heavy it is. And so and that was like, wow, Then I had this other guy that talked about, he was in the Aztec time and he was on the pyramid, and an orb comes every year to tell them about when to plant and tells them information. It was very interesting. Yeah.
When he was an Aztec, as a farmer, an orb would show up in the sky and they would get this knowledge of this is when you need to plant this year.
Well, he wasn't a farmer. He was like in training to be some kind of king thing,
Oh, okay.
And he had all this headdress, feathers, and he described everything because they describe everything. They tell what they're wearing because I ask him. So, so he said that the ball of light comes once a year, and it only comes once a year, and it makes sense because they're on this big pyramid, right? And it only comes to them, the ones higher up, I guess. And they give them information about farming or whatever. And they look forward to that. It's like a ceremony thing. So that was kind of interesting. And then I had another person say that they saw an orb too in a past life, and it was an ET or whatever. So it was interesting. So, yeah, and then the saddest one I had, let's put it this way, was a man that was an American serviceman, and then he went into the Holocaust. I think he said, was it Auschwitz? I think after to liberate the people, and it was so haunting. He never got over it, and he just said, it's something you can't unsee. And
this was a past life that he had. He had a past life as a service member, and he went to liberate one of the camps. And is this affecting him in this life?
Yeah, we had to release, the grief, yeah. And he drank, and it was interesting also. I remember he said his wife was going to said he needed help because he was drinking and he was depressed, and all that. related to it. Because he described in the visual too, which I won't describe. That was horrific. Okay. So, and he said he couldn't even talk to them. He was in shock, probably. Yeah. So, but he gave them blankets and things like that. So, she, going back to her, she told him to get to this counselor. Well, he didn't go, but they said that they the guides were probably telling her for him to go to that, but it was his choice not to go. Do you see what I'm saying? So she was given the information to help him from a higher source, but he didn't take that. So he didn't take that advice. So yeah, it was kind of sad. And then I've had, some people have really tragic lives and then they have happy lives. Do you see? I think we're given a break. I call it a break life.
A break life?
A rest life. And it was interesting. I think a psychic or maybe one of my clients told me about that too, that they had a rest life. So if you know people that have a wonderful life, they probably had a tragic life before.
They deserve it. In other words, they deserve this easy life right here, right?
And they just experience it. Sometimes we come just to experience, what it's like, to be maybe rich and happy. I don't know. So, but
I bet it has its own lessons. I mean, do you think they really get to escape all the lessons?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Because I think rich people have I think it can be very horrific in a sense, right? Like does everybody just like me for my money? Does anybody really like me? Would these people leave me tomorrow if I was destitute? I'm bored because there's no contrast in my life. I can get anything I want. I think it's really can be a mind bender.
Yeah, I've had people that were rich and then they had another life where they were extremely poor. The rich life was miserable, but the poor life
was more rewarding.
But it's also interesting that the lifetimes that people have where there's community, they're happier, no matter how poor they are.
By community?
People,
friends,
community.
Family.
Well, even people in their community, like communities.
Oh,
like
so
American
not
Indian.
Living alone.
Yeah, right. And I've had people live alone, and some people like it, some people don't. So it's all different, the way you perceive information and process it and what you need to learn from it, I guess. So, because some people need to learn to be alone sometimes,
Right. Right. I'm the opposite. I need to live. I'm happy alone. Just leave me alone here. And my guides are like, please leave the house, go outside, do something, meet some people.
So some people would hate that. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. It's up to you what your soul needs to learn. Like you said, like mine needs to learn this. Yours might need to learn something very different. Right?
Yeah. Right. So also I had somebody from Hiroshima. That was kind of interesting. I never had one person. She was a nurse. She wasn't involved, but she talked about how horrific that was too.
She was a nurse during Hiroshima?
Yes. And she described what happened, that there was a ball of light and they didn't know what was
God have mercy.
Yeah. So sometimes I go to tragic times because if you look at our history, most of it wasn't real pleasant.
Right? I mean,
so, I've had people in Gettysburg and every, World War I, World War II, and they describe things. I've had people from the 60s, younger people that come to me. So we can come back pretty quickly if we want to, So, but they're all interesting. So it's really hard to just pick one, but I don't know. Did I tell you about this one? Is really kind of interesting. The man that was claustrophobic. Did I ever mention that one?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Claustrophobic?
And he had cancer. Okay. I knew him. And so I asked him, I said, do you think it's past life? And he said, no, my mother locked me in closets and things like that. So I didn't record it, unfortunately, because I thought he said, because I was taking his word for it. Well, so anyway,
Oh no.
so anyway, he went deep in hypnosis. He had phones ringing because he had a business and in his home, had phones ringing off the hook. It didn't bother him at all. So I said, when was the first time that you felt claustrophobic? You know, because I wanted to know the first event. But he said, I'm on a ship. And he talks like this. I mean, I'm on a ship. And I'm like, why are you on a ship? And he goes, because there's a war. And I almost fell off my seat.
Oh my God. Oh God.
And I said, okay, are you captain of the ship? No. And then I went on and I kept asking him. And then finally he told me he's a Nazi, okay? And so he's on this submarine, right? So I asked him, why are you on there? He said, it's a secret and I'm not telling you. And it's interesting because in past lives, they sometimes have a secret and they will not tell me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
But I find out in the life review, okay?
You're like, we'll see, sir. We'll see. Oh
And
my God.
So anyway, he was torpedoed, of course, and he was down there. But what was also interesting, he didn't go to the light right away. He was in darkness. So I think he was, like in between somewhere. I don't know. So finally I said, it's time to go to the light now.
So wait. As a medium, I need to have a clarification here. So this guy died, but he didn't go to the light. So his soul
stayed in the submarine.
Was sort of, but then his soul eventually went to the light because he incarnated, or he still incarnated even though part of his soul was still in the dark, and you crossed that part of his soul over into the light. Is that what happened?
Yeah, he went into the light eventually, yeah.
But he was living when you transferred his other part of his soul to the light.
No, he's living. What do you mean?
Yes.
I'm confused.
He's living. That just means that so your soul can not go to the light, and still a different part of your soul can still keep incarnating.
Oh. Yeah, I'm confused here. What happens?
That's what I'm asking you.
What happens is usually people go to the light, okay? I've had some people in an area of darkness that takes a while to get to the light.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
And I get that part. I just don't know how he could be alive when you were still crossing. Yeah. When you found a part of his soul that hadn't gone to the light yet. Because it makes sense because if we have concurrent lives living all at the same time, then that means there are parts of your soul, fragments, or whatever you want to call it, that are in multiple lives. Well, in his case, his soul fragment was stuck. And you, even though his other part had gone on to incarnate, and you went back and brought his other soul fragment back into the light and brought them together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I never thought of it that way, but that's okay.
Well, as a medium, I keep track of souls. I'm like, where's this one go? Where's that one go? What's happening right now? Like, I'm like, okay. But my guides helped me make sense of it, because they said, well, it's Susan. It's just like there's 20 Susans, theoretically, speaking, running around right now, concurrent lives. Well, of course, this guy has a concurrent life where, he's.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. So anyway, then I took him to the life review. Of course, he had to learn forgiveness. Okay. So I asked, what was the secret? And he said he was delivering plans to the Japanese that would have changed the war. Yeah.
Wow. That was the secret he wouldn't tell you. In the past life regression.
Yes. That was powerful. I was like, and you can't make that up. And you have to understand that when I wasn't real friends with him, my son worked for him. It's a long story. But when you go in there in his house, he had a picture of Goebbels. He had Nazi stuff. And then one time he says, he knew what I did, right? He says, you don't know who I was. And I said, I knew who you were. You were a Nazi. And he said, well, how do you know that? I said, look, does it take a psychic to know this? It's like, you have it all over. That's what I'm saying. Those people that collected Nazis memorabilia, guess what?
They were Nazi. It's the same thing though. Like if you collect stuff from Mexico or Egypt, you probably had a past life there because it's familiar to you. Was a lifetime that you liked, unfortunately.
Yeah, but he was open to past life. And then he said to me, he said, yeah, I'm really paying for it in this life. Because he had a horrible mother that was abusive.
Well, locked him in a closet.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so let's talk about that. So this guy was locked in a sub, and then that energy of being locked carried through his life, everybody, and his own mother locked him in a closet. So I wonder what his lesson was about being locked up, because it continued, you know?
Yeah, well, we had to release that feeling of claustrophobia and things and other things.
Okay.
Yeah, other things I can't, personal.
Fear.
But
the fear of it. He had to release the fear of it, right?
But he loved Germany. He went over there, he married a German woman and stuff. So he still had that German stuff going on. Do you see?
Wow. Yeah, I see it.
Where I never liked the German language, which you can understand.
Right, because you were on the other side of that as a victim, but that's what happened, right? But
so
you just didn't stay that. Wow, that is so fascinating.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? But that was like, so we don't know everything that happened in history, and I've found history is not always accurate.
Well, it's told by the winners, right? They always say the winners.
I had a guy in the Trojan horse recently.
What?
The Trojan horse in Greece?
Yeah.
He explained, he said it wasn't that beautiful, but we thought it was a gift. And he went on about it. I was like, whoa. So
it wasn't that beautiful. It was just that they were trying to be nice. They didn't want to turn the gift down, and then the doors open and oops, we should have been a little bit more circumspect.
So he was killed in that.
Gift.
But he
was killed in that.
He described the horse. It was like, wasn't too nice. I can't remember what he said.
That is hilarious.
But I've never had anybody with the Trojan horse before. That was kind of interesting. So I get things I had 2 people with Noah and the ark. That was interesting.
Okay. Noah and the ark. So first of all, there was a Noah, and second of all, there was an ark.
And I didn't believe there was.
I didn't either. I'm getting schooled right now. So there was an ark and there were animals?
Yep. And the one guy said the animals just came on their own.
Like they knew.
Mm-hmm. But, that makes sense. Maybe just like the earthquake thing, when they know when to come. So maybe they just knew.
Or they know when to, or maybe they were just under a spell of, so that is fascinating.
I know. And then he said, that everybody thought he was crazy, of course, and he talked about loving one another, and we were just trying to get through our life. That's what he said. We were just, he was a farmer, and then nobody believed him, and then he said the rain came and never stopped, and then we all drowned, and it was interesting. Before that, I'd say 10 or 15 years before that, I had a woman that was the granddaughter of Noah, and she talked about the ark. He built the ark, and it wasn't as big as they think. It was big, but and so she said that they were going to go. They saw an island, and her grandfather said, "You can't go there. There's giants there." And at that time, I didn't know about giants, but they're saying there are giants, right? There were giants. Yeah. He said it's not safe.
So somebody said in the chat that they thought the ark was an alien ship. Do you feel like it could have been influenced by some kind of energy?
Oh yeah, it could, but it was wood. Yeah.
It was wood.
According
Okay, it was wood.
according to them, and I kind of believe it. I mean, because you can't really make up the story. I mean, he was there and explained it even more in detail than the granddaughter.
So
She
you had
explained.
2 people talk about the ark.
Yeah, that's why I thought, okay, that's kind of interesting because I didn't believe in the art kind of thing.
I didn't either. That's why I was like, there was an ark and there was animals on it.
So you know, that shows you I can't influence anybody.
Right, exactly. You're like, well, I was wrong. Right, exactly.
And it's just like, you know, I didn't believe at one point. I guess when I started, I wouldn't have believed about ETs coming and stuff, you know, like when I first started. But then I was like, okay, why not?
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
open to everything. That's what some people say. You'll think this is crazy. I said, hey, this is my world.
You know? I know. People used to say that to me. I'm like, probably not. So
and it's really
Raven,
not. Yeah.
It's really not. No, I mean, you know, and especially the ark there's crazier things out there than that. The ark, was it to flood out the giants? I don't know. Do you feel like that? All she knows is this person said we can't go to that island because there's giants there. So
and it
that
was above.
what
it was higher. It was higher than the water.
So they would have been fine.
They were on
probably.
The water part, I guess.
So have you ever thought about, this is my crazy thinking, have you ever thought about asking your guides who are bringing you your clients, asking them to bring you clients that have very specific things like, you know what, I want to know about these giants. Can you bring me a couple of clients with some giants? Or I always wondered about portals or you know, the witch trials. Have you ever thought about like just asking your guides to bring you some clients that talk about interesting things?
I ask the guides to send me those that want to heal.
See, I told y'all, I'm like, this will be fun. And she's like, I just want to heal them. It's okay. Y'all come on. I'm like, I'm tired of hearing about that. I need some giants. Come on. That's hilarious.
No,
oh
because
God.
they'll send me.
Master.
And I asked somebody, because I had some woman from Alaska. This was a long time ago. Okay. Before I was on here. Coming through with her parents on an RV. Okay. And she chose me. So I asked why. And they said, she loves your energy. She's connected to your energy. Well, and those that are connected will come. Yeah.
So they're your people.
I was like, okay, whatever. Because what's the odds of that one? You know?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So, and the people tell me sometimes your card flies out or somebody tells me, you know, so it's just, you know, it is what it is.
How people find you. Your card finds out, or somebody, or there could be somebody watching this right now who doesn't even follow me and just like saw this and thought, let me check this out. And then they found you, right? By the way, Willis Life Journeys, right? Willis Life Journeys? Or willislifejourneys.com.
Right.
Does readings, but you need to be in the Baltimore area or the East Coast, or you'd be willing to fly to her. But she does do this stuff for people. She's actually talking about that right now. These are actually real experiences that she's had, that she's talking about with real people. Let's do just a few more. We're on an hour and a half. I mean, I could talk to you forever, but you know, we got to go to bed and eat dinner at some time. Let's see. Was I rich in a past life? Let's see what this says. Terry Hart says, hi, Susan and Karen. Was I rich in a past life? Because I'm paying the price in this life. Commission only. Sales is killing me. Love to start selling my art. These are questions that you can have answered with anybody, somebody that's like Karen or
you, a medium. Yeah.
Right. Or maybe a medium. But I like what Karen does because I don't do readings, first of all, but you know, you could read the Akashic records. I mean, I have lots of ways that I can get information, but I think Karen does it on a much higher level, a much deeper level than a medium and a psychic, in my opinion. Especially because she does 3 things. She does, you know, quantum healing hypnosis technique, life between lives, and hypnosis regression. I mean, that's a lot for one person to offer, actually. But I would say just reading what you're saying, yes, that if you I mean, look, Terry, psychically, I would say that you're not valuing yourself. If you're, this is just energy, right? Like if you're on commission only, every sale is, am I worthy? Every potential thing is, am I worthy?
Mm,
Also, would you be worthy to get a flat paycheck of $1 million a month? Would you be worthy of that? Because this is what Karen finds out in these sessions is people, they're not you know what I mean? Deep hidden in here in our subconscious is that we're not worthy. And then that reflects into our outer world. Um,
and
so
people in our life too, because they'll see you as not worthy energetically. They'll feel that,
even if they
right?
don't know, even if they're not conscious of it,
Conscious.
they
Yeah, they're not
feel
conscious
that.
of it. Yeah.
And then they don't give you the choice or the chance to because you've
Hmm.
got to do it yourself. You've got to
Right.
show up like the boss. And unfortunately it's the same thing about your art. Your art is, there are artists out there who sell their art and say, I'm an amazing artist and you would be lucky to buy this, right?
Hmm.
That's a different attitude than, God, I hope get some art sales today, or just give me whatever you want, right? Like, so again, it's about valuing yourself. Reverse engineer this and value yourself. But yes, I promise you, this is past life. Wouldn't you say these are issues that he's had in past lives?
Mm, maybe. Could be. I don't know.
She sticks with the data, y'all. She's like, I don't have data to say that right now because I didn't do a reading for that person.
That's right.
um that's what I was saying. That's why she's so amazing. um Yeah, people like this person. I had a recurring dream of living in a cabin on the prairie with two boys and a baby girl. Fire took me and the baby. This a recurring dream is, I think, your
Yes.
subconscious. It's coming through to your subconscious into your consciousness. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
say?
Yes, definitely. I had a dream as a child, the reoccurring, and I found out it was past life related. Yeah. So, yeah, if you have reoccurring, and that's very specific too.
Yes,
So,
it's very specific.
do you have a fear of being in a fire again? You have to look at that too, because there could be a fear of dying in a fire. Because people who died on bridges or mountains, they have fears, sometimes related to that.
Right. And that shows
And,
you that it's from some other
right.
situation that's not, I always use the situation of, you grew up in the desert, you lived your whole life in the desert, yet you're just unbelievably afraid of water,
Yeah.
and it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, why would I be afraid of water? Because there's a strong past life energy that's interacting with your current life. So can people heal that? I mean, how do they heal that?
Well, we go to the lifetime, and then we go to the life review. I'll ask them, where does it manifest in the body? Because usually that does manifest, and then we'll do the healing work, because and then the
That is
releasing.
fascinating.
And I'll say, your soul is saying it's time to let it go. The soul brings it forward for you. Do you see? Or your higher self, whatever. So you to look at that so you can release it. And most people do. Again, they have to believe it. Again, they have to believe it was released. But I think most people do and are ready. Most people who come to me are pretty ready for it. They're ready. I don't get
I
too many people that are I get some people that are new to it, but they still have that. They're usually psychic too and don't know it. So, yeah.
so that's
Or with,
something else that you can learn is
yeah.
so you can also learn like your soul path or what it is you're meant to be doing, or
Well, that's usually the quantum healing that tells you the exact thing, the truth. Um, it really, in the past life, it's more about healing and understanding why you do certain things and people in your lives and that kind of thing, and physical healing. Um, so, and most of the people already know the information, but I tell them, do you act on this information before?
no, I don't.
No.
I mean, I don't know
But
about anybody else, but I don't.
So it's recorded, so you can
Yeah.
hear your higher self telling you.
God, that's
So
so
you can't really
valuable. You
deny it
guys,
anymore,
that is so valuable. Oh my God, it's so valuable.
Yeah,
Wow.
because, and some people don't listen to the recording, which I tell them it's very important. I had this one client said, I should have listened to it earlier.
That would be me. I didn't listen to it, Karen, but can you just tell me like the highlights? Like what, like give me one thing. What should I do? Right? Like that's hilarious.
Yeah,
And
because
I want to say, go ahead.
it's long, especially if there are 3 or 4
Oh yeah,
hours.
that's true. 3 hours long, right? Right. Exactly. Oh man, I'd have to have chapters. There's one thing that you said this time, and I think you've been on my channel 3 or 4 times. And I finally clicked to something that I'm sure you said every time, is that this awareness of, let's say it's a phobia, or let's say it's something you need to let go of, whatever that is, whatever thing that you're ready to heal. It could be self-doubt or self-love, or it could be a fear of bridges, whatever it is. The way I always heard you said, the way I interpreted it was, it's sort of like this like cloud, and you just, and it goes away. But what's really interesting, and I just caught on, is that you're like, where's it in the body? And I think this is very important, because even though I say this all the time, I'm understanding it right now in a new way, which is, she says, where is it in the body? These things lodge in our physical body. And if we don't release them from our physical body, they're likely to turn into a physical ailment, a real physical ailment, which I think she can also work on too. But I just
Mhm.
think it never, it never got to me that even like a phobia could show up in my heart, or could show up in my liver, or could show up in my bowel, right? Like, is that what you're saying? Like it shows up like in a part of the body, and
Well,
then they
usually
give you the color.
fear, you know, a lot of times, like you're fearful of something. Everything that is not of love is of fear, basically. So, fear is not good for the body, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm always amazed, and they'll tell me, but it makes sense. A lot of times they have pains in certain areas, and it'll go right to that area. Do you see what I'm
Oh wow.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's what's
So
causing the pain in that area.
right. So they okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. And then how often do you think you're able to, because you asked the subconscious or the superconscious, will this really heal them? Can they accept this? Don't you ask that? Like, will
Mm.
this
Yeah.
manifest? And how many times do you get yes versus maybe or
More
no?
more times, more times.
That's excellent. So
Yeah.
more often than not, it really does heal the person of the thing.
Well, that they believe it. Yeah. But then again, they have to believe it after too. So I
Right.
don't know, but they tell me yes. So I don't know. I just accept it that they
That's all you can do. I mean, you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like you're not going to run people behind people, but I
Or
think what,
they'll tell me sometimes that they need this what do you call it? They need this physical manifestation of discomfort for a reason. So sometimes there's a reason for that.
well,
So there's no healing.
pain is what tells you there's a problem, right? So
Hmm.
I think that if you're experiencing this thing in your body, and then you find out it's related to this past life or this other thing where you had this problem, then you heal it, so above as below, the guides are saying. You're healing it energetically and physically all at the same time, and
Right.
also in all directions of time. So you're healing it from that past life to this
To
life, and
this
you're
life,
not
right.
carrying it in the next
Yeah.
life. So
No.
it's so valuable.
Yeah. And I always ask, what did you learn from that lifetime, that affects the current lifetime? Because that's an important question to ask.
Or what
Um,
didn't you learn in my case?
well, sometimes they don't learn. Yeah. I've had people that didn't learn anything. So
Didn't learn anything in their past life.
that's rare, but I've had a few. So, yeah.
Oh my God, you can imagine your conversation. Well, listen to the tape, especially this part right here. You just might want to fast forward to that. Just listen to that part.
Yeah. But you never know. They might work on it later too. I have hope that they'll get some understanding.
Oh yeah.
Because I've had some people say, it didn't help me at all or something like that. And I look at my notes and I'm like, there's all kinds of healing going on.
But they didn't want to, they just weren't ready.
Yeah.
Look, we have multiple chances to learn these things.
Yeah. So if there's a lot of healing, which happens occasionally, I'm exhausted afterwards. I actually fell asleep with this one person. There was so much to let go of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of holding the space.
Yeah.
You're kind of holding the space for spirit and the client, and making sure that this is also, and we're going to end this after this, but this is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is also why you and Dolores Cannon, if you're going to be certified by her teachings, now her daughter's running it, but if you're going to be certified, they require that you do it in person. And I think the reason is because if something happens to that person, Karen's there. She's physically there to help you if it's a physical thing or whatever it is. And if you're online, if the internet goes out, that person will eventually, I'm sure, wake up.
Yeah.
But it's not the same. You're basically, think about waking up on the ER table and you're groggy and you don't know what happened, right? There's no closure. If Karen is doing this and the power goes out, she can either bring you back to consciousness safely and then start the process again later. But it's just more hands-on. But I do understand that people are doing things online. Maybe that's the way it will be. I don't know. But I know this is why you feel this way. Is that correct?
And I asked my clients, and some of them came from far away. I said, would you have liked to have this on a Zoom? And they go, no. They all said no.
Because I think your energy is so nice.
Well, thank you. But I think the connection is stronger when you're with that person.
The physical.
But also you are in hypnosis, and I wouldn't want to leave you, because my internet's not great. Sometimes it goes off.
Well, it does for everybody, right? I mean, it's anything can happen, right? So if you want a reading with Karen, that's where she's at, north of Baltimore. So in my opinion, that's accessible to a lot of people on the East Coast. But check her out. Check out her book that she has. You can check out her website, willislifejourneys.com. But she has to do it in person, right? If you want to know more about me, SusanLynnMedium.com. I have online communities, classes, events, all those things that you can learn about as well. Any parting thoughts, wisdom for us?
Okay. I always tell them this is the lifetime that you're living. So you need to concentrate on it, and be present in this lifetime. We only do past lives to help heal so you can move forward in this lifetime. So you don't have to come back and do it again. So, because you don't want to repeat the pattern over and over again. That's not what we want to do. And realize that you are this beautiful light, okay? And take that on, and don't let anybody dim your light. That's a really important thing. That's what they
don't yourself dim your light, and don't you dim your light.
That's true.
That's actually
and love yourself, because you are loved, and you're never alone. Yeah,
beautiful.
That's basically it. Just love yourself.
I got chills. That's beautiful. If we just, can you imagine if we all just had love for ourselves? We've made it into, if you love yourself, you're egotistical or you're narcissistic, which is not true, right? If I love myself, what it really means is that I'm a kind, empathic person, that I wouldn't treat you horribly because I wouldn't want to be treated that way, right? It actually is the opposite. If we all had love in our hearts for us, we would have love in our hearts for
Hearts for
everything.
all. Yeah, for everyone. Yeah. Because you can't love your others if you don't love yourself sometimes. Yeah.
No, that's true.
And it's important to be kind and, you know, all the good things, you know.
All the good things. But starting with you, be kind to yourself first, right? Put the
Mhm.
oxygen mask on you first so that then you can go help others, right?
Right.
So this has been so fascinating. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Karen.
Well, thank you.
Take really good care, everybody. It's wild times here on the planet. We all need to dial up our higher selves and you know, I see like what package did I order again? Because I think I got the wrong one. Like go see Karen and ask why what happened. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's you know what? It's an honor to be here at this time. It's an
Yeah.
honor to be here
That's
during
what
a
they
time of
tell us.
great change.
Right.
And we get to be witnesses of that great change. And also, we get to be parts of the change itself, right?
Yes.
So that's why we're here, everybody. All right. Well, take good care, everybody. Thanks again, Karen, for coming. And everybody take really good care.
Yes. And thank you. And bless everybody.
Blessings. Absolutely.
Yeah.